Back here on the Meat Speak podcast, powered by the certified Angus beef man, Brian Shaw, Chef Tony Biggs, Diana Clark, meat scientist. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
You almost said that. It almost sounded like you practiced that in harmony. It was so.
We're going to sing for Christmas, aren't
really
we?
nice.
Yes, we are.
We're going to sing.
We're getting
She's
ready.
got a really nice tune coming up about beef and walnuts. Was it?
Ribeyes roasting over open fires.
Wow. Not only a meat scientist, but a opera star.
I think that was an Irving Berlin song,
Wow.
wasn't it? You know, we talked about it on the last episode. Allegedly, we may be doing this on the same day we recorded the last episode. I don't know, but I am wearing the same socks. I'll say that. The sirloin, right? It has been horribly misunderstood for all these years. Mostly because of the way that it's been cut. Gave people an experience that was just okay. And right, if you listen to the last podcast, and we talked a lot about that, right? Especially the center cut sirloin, the mouse. Tony, one of the things that you had mentioned was you have another use.
What we have done at the center. Do you remember when we did our beef carpaccio?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, now why, guys and gals, would you use middle meats when you can take a sirloin chateau? And what I do is I like to freeze them, wrap them up, make them into a round cylinder, perfect. And then I slice it on the slicer, paper thin, on a nice mirror. And I have like a little balsamic vinegar and some Parmesan cheese and some fried capers and a little bit of parsley and a little bit of olive oil. And you have a beautiful carpaccio for half the price, maybe even more.
And I bet you no one would ever know that it was sirloin versus tenderloin.
No one would know the difference. Sushi, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls out there, you make your sushi rolls. You've got cream cheese, you've got your pickled daikon, you got your crab stick, and now you have frozen some beautiful slices of sirloin from the chateau. You lay that over, put a little bit of eel sauce on top of that, and then just flambe it with my Home Depot torch, and voila,
That's French, right?
you have got a beef sushi roll. Yes.
Very nice, very nice. There
love it.
are a lot of delightful nuggets hidden in the sirloin complex that
There
people just
is.
missed out on. You know, and the one that I'm super excited about because this is my go-to, right? Everybody kind of, it's sort of like, Tony, hey, who's your team, right? It's the Patriots,
Yeah,
right?
Patriots, baby.
People
Yeah.
ask me, what's your beef cut, right? I'm
Yeah.
like, Coulotte, baby, all day long. If you don't know what the Coulotte is, it's the top cap of the sirloin.
Yep.
It's also known as La Picanha, if you're in a Brazilian steakhouse.
Picanha.
And it's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about why this thing is incredible.
Well, one, usually when you're roasting that, it's got a really nice fat cap on there. Two, the muscle fibers are all running in the same direction. So it's really easy to roast and slice. The fun part about it, too, when you roast it or you cook it, it puffs up.
Yeah.
It just gets, it looks so neat.
It's like a party trick.
Yeah, it really is. And you slice it against the grain, and man, that thing is fantastic. You can cut it into steaks, too, and they look like mini New York strip steaks.
Yeah.
But it just has so much flavor. I mean, that is, and I have to steal this from our one of our fellow staff employees, Kim. He always calls it the sirloin crown.
Yeah.
Because it is the crown of the sirloin. It is the gem of that entire sirloin, and you can't go wrong with it.
I've also seen them listed as cap steaks.
Yeah, you can call it a cap
It's like a
steak.
little hat for the sirloin, right?
Well, my cap.
It
You know,
is.
you said it tastes like or it looks like a little New York strip. Anatomically, are the two related? Because I know the two pieces, the sirloin and the short loin, kind of butt up together. Is there an extension of that muscle that is? Or?
So the sirloin starts to lead in, and the strip loin starts to lead in. When you get to the back, you have those steaks called the vein end, and within that vein end, you have more of that longissimus dorsi, or the major strip loin muscle, and then underneath that is the gluteus medius. That is the center cut sirloin. So then what sits on top of that is the biceps femoris, which is the coulotte or the picanha. The cool part is that that picanha actually keeps on going back, and that becomes the bottom round flat. So The Coulotte, bottom round flat, exact same muscle, biceps femoris.
Yeah.
But it's just on where it sits on the animal when it's moving around. And so that's what makes it a little bit way more tender, not a little bit, way more tender than that bottom round flat when you're working with that Coulotte section.
Interesting. Interesting. Chef Coulottes, one of the things that I know that you love is churrasco cooking. And when I think of churrasco cooking, especially when it comes to beef, man, it's that beautiful C-shaped with the fat cap on the outside.
Yes.
Coulotte, right? This is like right in your wheelhouse, right?
I had to go out and buy the skewers, the swords, anything with fire, just to cook and prepare the coulottes. But before I get into that, I want to tell you what we have done at the center, and we have created a beef prosciutto.
This is great.
With the coulotte. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, how do you do that, Chef? As Diana mentioned, you have that fat cap. Okay? Now, when you buy a prosciutto, what do you have? You have a little bit of that fat cap on top of the ham. Being a classically trained chef that I was, or still am, we took the method and the methodology of gravlax, which is curing salmon in sugar, salt, and spices. And guess what we did? We did that with the coulotte.
It's fantastic.
And we had amazing, amazing results. We add a little pink salt to the cure, okay, which you do in sausage and charcuterie making preparation. And we did this, we experimented with this for a very long time, but we figured out that about 29 days to 30 days in a salt sugar brine was adequate. And I'm telling you, then we put it into our dry age cooler for another 10 to 21 days. And then we sliced this on the slicer.
So
and it was
good.
just magical because you had that fat cap that melted right in your mouth. You had the spice, the salt, the sugar, and all the fruit that we put into the our brine. And it was just amazing. So we call it coulottes.
Coulottes.
That was what blew me away, was that you could actually taste the fruit in it. You could taste that citrus when you took a bite out of it. I mean, it was incredible. And the fat that's on that picanha just is perfect for that application.
It really was. And now everybody, if you want to do a prosciutto and melon,
Oh, gosh,
if
yeah.
you want to do a prosciutto and around a pretzel stick, we have turned everybody on, a lot of folks on to the beef prosciutto. They want the recipe. So there's a lot of great things you can do with this coulotte. And Brian had mentioned the picanha and the churrasco, and
yeah.
a lot of our partners now, a lot of, you'll see Greg and Christina Garbo. They fell in love with this cut. We can marinate. We have paste from Mexico that we marinate in, and it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful cut that it really performs well when it's slow roasted on that churrasco barbecue. And as Brian said, you just cut that off on the sword. What a show, right?
Yeah.
And then you have the bananas foster after, okay? Well, I mean, I just love this cut. It's tender. And the thing that, these chefs, you guys are in high 5-star resorts or hotels, or you have breakfast places. This is the perfect steak for a steak and eggs.
Oh,
It
yeah, that's a
really,
good
really
point.
is.
Yeah.
I mean, because you can cut a nice 6-ounce piece and marinate it, and it cooks up really fast, and that is just perfect. We'll have huevos, okay? A little bit of salsa and some mariachi music, and you've got a home run here.
I like that a lot.
It's a common theme that you hear around, tri-tips, right?
Yeah.
Two per animal. California loves the tri-tip. They can be a little difficult to find sometimes. Is this a reasonable alternative for a tri-tip?
Oh, yeah, without question. Usually, so as a matter of fact, got a text message from my mother-in-law this morning asking for a good roast that she wanted to cook for dinner tonight. And so my brain first went to tri-tip. I'm like, well, she lives in Indiana. There's no way she's going to get that. So I'm like, hey, go to the butcher and see if you can get a top sirloin cap. If they have sirloin steaks in there, they should have that in the retail case. And she did, and that's what she got. So always a great alternative.
Outstanding. How about to get your hands on the coulotte? Is it wise just to order that in, or is it better to get the whole piece, have the byproduct, have the center cuts, have the mouse, have all these other things to deal with? I guess in general, I guess what's the best way to go about this if you're running a restaurant?
It kind of depends on your menu and your budget, to be honest. If you want just the Coulotte, you're going to pay a little bit more for it, and you have to realize seasonality. There's going to be times where it's going to go up in price because it is utilized a lot in your Brazilian steakhouse. I mean, come summer months, people are roasting it, cutting into steaks, so it does make that price fluctuation a little bit harder to handle. So if you want something that's more consistent, I would get the whole top sirloin in, and you could peel it yourself. I mean, if you're talking that your byproduct is a center cut top sirloin, I'd say that's a pretty good problem to have right there.
Might be able to find a use for that.
Yeah. So.
And chefs, it's easier than you think to fabricate.
Oh, yeah.
It really is. And once you do it 3 or 4 or 5 times, you can do it in your sleep, and then you're saving yourself a lot of money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Giving it back to your customer.
You just follow the seam, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right, and you'll be sure not to cut.
Lean.
There you go.
When you cut
That was nice.
upon the seam.
Wait a minute, you didn't cue me up for that one.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was a last minute.
I was gonna go low on that one.
All right, ready? Let's try it again.
All right, ready?
1, 2, 3.
Lean.
Oh, you didn't jump in.
high.
Oh, you went high.
You went high.
It was nice. This whole podcasting thing doesn't work.
You got a music career.
I don't know. Our subscriptions are up.
You know, we talked about it with the center cut portion, dry aging a Coulotte. I mean,
Oh yeah.
how's that?
Yeah, that's fantastic. And so if you are going to dry age a sirloin, I would recommend doing it whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Coulotte on and everything, because the fat protection on the top from the Coulotte's going to help it a lot. Then you're going to protect that top sirloin, the center cut, quite a bit more. If you just dry age them separate, then you're going to have some issues with having, not really issues, but your yield loss is going to be higher.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely dry aging the whole thing together, but you just intensify that flavor. And so it's a fantastic option, and it's way more affordable when you're looking at something like that.
Especially in certified Angus beef prime,
Oh
USDA
gosh,
prime.
yeah. We only dry age prime around here. That's so sad. I'm such a meat snob.
We just have such a plethora of prime beef.
I know.
going around, you know.
Gosh.
Oh. You know, the thing that I love about the Coulotte is it's always there, right? It's one of those cuts. Sometimes we talk about these strange cuts. I mean, we discussed the mouse. I mean, every once in a while you hear us mention the Merlot cut, but I don't like to say that too loud because everybody's like, what? The Coulotte's always around, though, right? There's not really availability issues on a Coulotte steak, right?
Yeah, you should be able to get it wherever. There are times where I know distributors might have some challenges, and they might push back a little bit, but it's available. I mean, retail stores always have top sirloin in house. That is a staple cut.
Yeah.
So you should be able to find the Coulotte wherever you go.
Glorious. You know, one of the things that I love is because of that fat cap. Actually, when I call my butcher, specifically here at Bueller's, I always ask him to leave a 1/4-inch fat trim on top of the Coulotte, right? Because that fat to me is what makes it. It's what makes it different. You know, it's what makes it. Because you've got fat, and I love to rub it down with a little salt, sugar, call it a day. Yeah. Chef, what do you rub your Coulottes with when you're going churrasco?
Boy, I'll tell you what, I do them so many ways. I'm using this Matador rub out of Chicago now, and it's just full of chilies. I love things hot. It's got paprika for coloring. It's got some different kind of Mexican chilies, but sometimes I'll just do it in lemon and olive oil and different herbs. Olive oil gives it that richness after if it's sitting in some olive oil overnight. And by the way, that's how we used to cut our steaks in the hotel. We would cut our steaks and then actually submerge them in olive oil. So you had that beautiful olive oil taste, and they don't stick to your grill. And this is just, I learned this from a chef, a German chef, a master chef from a long time ago. And this is how he wanted his steaks marinated. And everything was in olive oil, rosemary, and crushed garlic.
I have never heard of that before.
And so that's how our steaks were marinated. Yeah. And then when we received orders, like in a restaurant, we would always have like a garlic butter around, and when that steak came off the grill, every steak was brushed with butter before it went out. Okay? Because you eat with your eyes, so you have a shiny, nice, beautiful steak. The butter kind of permeates into the meat, and it's just a different dining experience. I mean, oiling our steaks. Yeah, that's what we did. And
Interesting.
Lime juice is really good. Make sure that you're cutting a thick steak so the lime juice is not cooking and the lemon juice is not actually cooking, but you've diluted with a little bit of olive oil and some different marinades. Orange juice is really nice, kind of a Cuban style with some rosemary and garlic. So there's a lot of things. It's your preference. I mean, really, salt and pepper though is key to a great steak. You want that flavor.
You also want to make sure that you purchase a pineapple when you're roasting.
Pineapple.
When you're roasting that
and what kind of rum? What kind of rum? Not just what is the rum that Greg Garbo uses? Like the Killer what is it rum? He uses this rum that flamed a pineapple. Yeah,
I didn't know
the flaming
that.
pineapple with brown sugar and God, what is the name of that? I'll have to tell him. But anyway, and not 151 because I don't believe they sell 151 rum in the United States anymore because I think too many people have burned themselves down, all right, or the house down. But this
have to
rum,
dilute that stuff.
Yeah, there's a rum, and so. To Diana's point, I don't want to cut you off
No,
because it's not.
Hey,
but
I said it
roasted
because
pineapple
yeah.
and picanha is like the marriage made in heaven. Okay, let's put a little tequila with that, and wow.
It's a great night.
Amazing. A great night.
We know what you're serving for Christmas.
I got a bottle of tequila, yeah.
That is about all the time that we've got. If this is your first time listening to Meat Speak powered by the certified Angus beef brand, please know there is a whole backlog of episodes. Everything from pitmasters to chefs to the CEO of the American Angus Association and farmers to you name it that you can go back and listen to and catch up on everything. But if this is your first time, please know that you can find us across Apple, Google Play, Spotify, or simply by finding certifiedangusbeef.com/podcast. And if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, if you want to a little more robust meat science-ness from Diana Clark or Chef Tony, please know you can email us at podcast@certifiedangusbeef.com, and we will get back with you. And I say that because we don't get that many emails. So until next time, Chef Tony, Diana Clark, guys, thank you for coming.
Take care. Bye-bye.
See you.